Okay, I get this question a lot. This is something that it seems like a lot of musicians struggle with. And because of that, I thought rather than trying to come up with a blanket answer to a universal question, I would try to break it down to 5 things that help solve the problem. Hello, everybody. My name is Caleb Hawkins. I am a singer songwriter here in the great Midwest. And the question that was in the title and probably in the thumbnail, which drew you to this video, is how do I get a gig? Now, I wrote down 5 little notes here, and because I want to stay on track, I'm going to use this little journal. So if I refer to my notes, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be to the point. The first thing about getting a gig is actually asking for it. I've had everything from heavy metal artists, hip hop artists, singer-songwriters, bluegrass musicians ask, how do I get a gig? The first thing is to ask for it. Find a venue that it would be appropriate for them to book you for the level of draw, clout, fame that you have. And ask them, hey, would you be interested in booking me or my band? I can tell you in over 20 years of gigging out, the times that people have actually reached out to me in my minuscule, tiny little career that nobody cares about, exactly 4 times. And one of them was a scam, one of them was a bust, one of them was actually pretty good. The other one, they asked me, I wanted the gig, I played it, it was great. It does happen. The reality, though, is that unless you're proactive at going after the shows that you want to play, the venues that you want to get into, nobody cares. All right, so that's the first one. The first point is ask for it. Ask for the show. The second is to make it easy. Now, if you go to my website, calebhawkins.com, I've got a thing called an electronic press kit. And it's a one-page deal. It's all it is. It could be separate from the rest of my website, to be all honest, but it's the thing that I use to get the most gigs. You know, you've got to make it easy. Venue owners, talent bookers, buyers, promoters, they're busy people. They don't have time to sit there and look at your TikTok, your Instagram, your Facebook, your YouTube, your whatevers. If you start sending them like 6 or 8 different links to different places around the internet, not only does that take time to go search it all out, but it also takes you out of control of the narrative. Now, let me explain this. If I send a talent buyer to my Facebook page because I want them to see how many followers or likes I have, that's great, but I lose control of the narrative, because they are now competing with all the status updates of all their friends and all the push notifications and the cat memes and the viral things and the news headline that's got them all upset. I don't send people to social media. Not the first time. What I do is I send them to a one-page electronic press kit that's got press photos, it's got press clippings, it's got my YouTube videos embedded in it, it's got some of my music, it's got 2 bios. Now that's important. I have a short one, tells you who I am, why you want to book me. Then I have another one down below that tells my life story, so to speak. And then, of course, there's the whole other aspect of my website, my blog, all those different things, they're all there. But I make it simple. One link, it's easy to keep track of. It's got everything that you need to book me. Think about that. Now, lately I've had a few venues that have kind of gotten a little freaked out by that. They don't recognize that as a social media link, and they're like, I'm not clicking that link. So you need to be very clear what it is, and sometimes you have to kind of hold their hands a little bit because you guys aren't doing it. You're sending everybody to all these different other sites, and then you never hear back from the venue. Think about that. Okay, you can use something like Bandzoogle. I've got a link down below. It is an affiliate link to Bandzoogle. If you sign up, I get a free month of web hosting. That's all that's in it for me. But they do have a very affordable plan that gets you an honest-to-goodness website. They have, I believe, a plan now for electronic press kits, if that's all you need. Some of you, that may be it. Okay? Use an electronic press kit. You could even make it as a PDF file, really, but send something that keeps you in control of the narrative. Number 3 is to underpromise. This is a concept that I'm seeing around a little bit more in various sort of motivational speakers and influencers, is to underpromise and overdeliver. And I can't stress this enough, that for musicians, this is something that we need to do. You need to underpromise how many people you can get into a bar. You need to underpromise how much money they're going to make off the back end of you, because obviously if you're playing in a bar gig, you're there to sell beer. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't promise you're going to pack the place, all your friends and all your fans are going to be there. The reality is, most of us would be hard put to fill the place. That's just a reality. The more you gig out, the less your show is a novelty, the even harder it gets to get people to come see you. They'll come and see you maybe once a year if you release an album or you make an event out of it. But if you're just playing a bar gig, you need to just tell the bar owner, if you can fill your place, I will keep them there. That's really what you need to deliver as a promise. Now, if you can get 20, 30, 50, 100 people to come to you, great. And if that's a case, then renegotiate when they rebook you, if you can consistently pull that off. Don't overpromise yourself. That's only going to give you a bad reputation. Number 4 is to solve a problem. I'll tell you a little story real quick. Years ago, there was a venue in Florida that I wanted to play at with the duo that I was in. We wanted to play there so bad. It was the club to play in. It held a few hundred people. It had an entertainment budget. They had a stage. Instead of just shoving us in a corner where we couldn't even make an impact or put on much of a show, they actually had a stage. So I worked like a madman on that venue owner. Before I even moved to that town, I was calling, I was emailing, I was trying to get on. And it ended up not working for almost a year. They just didn't believe in me. They didn't believe my numbers. They didn't believe the promises that I was trying to make. Again, I was overpromising. What actually happened was I played their open mic, and we destroyed the place. We brought the crowd to a standstill, from talking and drinking to watching us, and then laughing and yelling and dancing and having a good time with our antics. And that got their attention. But what really happened was, it was the Thursday before St. Patrick's Day. I think St. Patrick's fell on like a Saturday that year. A lot of the talent was already booked. And somehow the standing guy who was always playing there on Thursday nights backed out. He got a better St. Patrick's gig. He had told them months before. The venue talent buyer somehow forgot. He started frantically calling people. He called us. I said, yes, we can come in. We can do that. He said, great. You'll play the cocktail hour. It was like 2 to 4. Great. We'll do that. And then what happened was, whoever was supposed to headline that night, not the cocktail artist we were replacing, but the headliner, they also backed out. That put us playing, I think, 5 hours that night, a 2-hour show and then a 3-hour show. But it was a different audience, so we were able to recycle the material. It doesn't matter. We solved a problem because we rose to the occasion. This guy was going to get in trouble with his boss if he didn't have live music that night. With 36 hours to prep, we got the gig, and we went from playing cocktail hour to playing cocktail hour and headlining hour, and we made a good paycheck. But we rose to the occasion. We solved the guy's problem. The next time he had a problem, he reached out to us. But also because he now knew that we could come and rise to the occasion and solve the problem, he started booking us more just normal shows, just not the off the cuff, not the, well, you weren't my first choice kind of gigs, but actual shows. So if you can solve a problem, follow the venues you want to play on Facebook. Find out when they have a cancellation, because sometimes they'll post like, "Hey, the band canceled tonight, no live music." Hey, we'd be glad to pay it. Go do it. Go get in there, pay the dues. Number 5 is something that is, it's the last thing on the list, but it should be number 1. This should be the most important thing that you do when you book a venue, when you enter into an agreement to play a room. Get it in writing. I don't know where to begin with this. First off, I'm gonna try to stop from scaring you off of performing live. You don't need to necessarily hire an attorney, draft up documents and things like that, but you need to get it in writing. You need to get it in writing when you're playing. You need to get it in writing sometime of when you agreed to play the room. Trying to explain this. Okay, so this is lessons learned the hard way. Get it in some form of being able to say, okay, on March 23rd, we agreed to play Scooter's Bar and Grill on July 18th at 7 p.m. Okay, so you booked the show in March. That's when you entered in the agreement. Second, you agreed, when. And third, and this is really important, it's how much they're paying you. Get that in writing. I don't care if it's a text message, a Facebook message. If you've got the clout, if you got the skills, get it in a contract form and put cancellation clauses and all those things in there. If you think you have the clout, if you can fill the room and all those things to get people to sign that document, great. But here's the thing. Okay. I've had shows where I drove 2 hours to get there to find another band loading in. They're already setting up when I get there. When you start looking at the talent buyer and going, okay, why is, so-and-so coming in here? This is my show. Well, if you booked it in March and they booked it in April, you booked first. That should give you the right to say, hey, it was my show first. Kick these guys out of here. It's time to get started. In a perfect world, what the venue owner would do is say, hey, look, my mistake. All right, I'm going to pay you both because you drove an hour and they drove 2 hours, whatever. And you just co-headline. And that's great because a 3-hour show means you only got to play for 90 minutes. You make the same money. You got to cooperate with some other guys. Hopefully you're not a singer-songwriter folk act getting booked with a heavy metal cover band. Get it in writing specifically how much money they owe you. Quick story, there's a venue here in Indianapolis that the owner's a sweetheart, and they would book these artists, myself included. I think the pay was like $300, $200, something like that. You go play the show. You go and pour your heart out on a stage for like 4 hours, something like that. You break your PA system down. You're tired. You're probably hungry. You're exhausted. You go to the bartender who has your money. The bartender says, how much do we owe you? At that point, you say $300. And it never failed at this particular venue that I am not naming, but leave a comment down below if you know where I'm talking about. The bartender would give you this kind of like fuzzy eyeball look, and then he'd say, we only pay bands $250, $50 less. It didn't matter the amount either. If you negotiated to play for $200, it was $150. But he always was trying to short you $50. And I think he was banking on the idea that some of these guys didn't have it in writing, or they didn't have the gumption and the spit in the eye to say, hey, wait a minute now, I've got this message on my phone. You whip your phone out, wherever my phone is. It's somewhere where it won't disrupt the video. But if you'd whip your phone out and you'd go, wait a minute, now I've got it in writing here from your boss who is off tonight. that I get $300. I played from, 7 to 10 or 8 to 11 or whatever it is. But, you can, with those screenshots, sometimes, you can pull the little blue bubble sideways into Facebook Messenger and find out when it was sent, when it was, you've got documentation. And in this particular bartender's case, the last time he tried this on me, I said, do you want me calling your boss on her night off and explaining why I'm having an argument with you over $50? He went and he got my money. And that was the last time I played there because they had done that twice. Other acts that I'm aware of have had that multiple times. We have complained to the owners. The owner doesn't seem to understand this situation because they trust their own bartender more than the musician. But having it in writing is very important. All right, so if we're going to review here, is number 1, ask for the gig. 2, make it easy. Don't waste their time with a whole bunch of social media links. Just make it easy. Tell them who you are, what you do, what you want in those first 2 points. And the third one is to underpromise. Don't make promises that you can't keep because that's going to be detrimental to your career long term. Number 4 is to solve a problem. Now that is that's more of a liquid. If you can, that can be a way to kick in the door, so to speak, and continue a long and prosperous, healthy relationship with a venue. Number 5 is getting it in writing. Again, I put that last on the list, but that should have been number 1. It's not necessarily the easiest way to get a gig, so that's why I didn't make it number 1. But get it in writing. That's to protect you, your finances, and the venue, and to also give you some peace of mind. You walk into a venue, you see somebody else setting up to play your gig. Hey, I booked it first. Yada, yada, yada. 5 things to help you book gigs. All right, I hope this series helps. Click like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing a bunch more of these sort of 5 things videos to try to help musicians. A lot of these are lessons I've learned the hard way. I'm not some famous artist that's just walking into a crowd of adoring fans. When I go in and play a bar, half the time I'm ignored. I'm getting talked over. Sometimes I book the wrong room and I find that I am just actually annoying the people who are really just there to celebrate football. But this is real world stuff. I hope you learned something. I hope you're having a great day, and I can't wait to talk to you in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching.